Today, we're going to talk about getting out of America as a business owner. I've seen a lot of videos about people changing countries, and obviously, there's some percentage of people that want to leave America. You may see what's happening here in our environment and say, hey, this is just not for me. So, today, we're going to talk about some of the realities and some of the extra planning steps that business owners may encounter when trying to leave the U.S. or at least lessen their exposure to the U.S. I'm Shawn McBride. I am a business lawyer by training. This channel is about helping business owners and business leaders, and I understand some percentage of business owners and business leaders may want to come to America to set up businesses. I've worked on that front. And some percentage of business owners may want to leave America for some reason. Regardless of what your goals are, our goal with this channel is to educate and inform you. Obviously, can't do legal advice over the internet like this, but we can give you some tips and tricks and some ideas to really kick you up to the next level. If you're new here, welcome, and if you've come back again, welcome back. Thanks for joining. And I'd love to hear in the comments why you might be thinking about changing your country of residence or what might be prompting you to be watching a video like this. So, one of the biggest challenges for business owners is it's hard to just move a business unless you're a completely digital business where you just have an online presence where you can move yourself from one country to another. Most businesses have physical ties and connections to different areas, whether it's customer base, physical inventory, other things like that, right? So this brings a real practical reality. And for many businesses, you're going to have to figure out whether you're going to try to expand overseas or whether you're going to try to exit your existing business and start anew, right? You need to really figure that out. Uh, in the US side, it raises the question, do you want somebody else to manage and run your business? And can you build that, right? That's usually a process to get a team ready to run your business with your absence. And even if you're going as nearby as Canada or Mexico, there are going to be logistical challenges with being physically present there, not to mention the tax considerations that might come in if you are coming in and out of the U.S. regularly, right? That can be a downfall for some tax planning, depending on what you're trying to do, right? I'm not here to really give you sophisticated tax advice, but just to flag the issue for your tax advisor that if you're running a business and you're coming back to the U.S. regularly, that may impact whatever tax strategy you're trying to execute to minimize some of your international taxation if that's part of the plan. So, one part is, can your business run without you being in the U.S., and do you have people you trust? And what happens if the people you trust are not there anymore, right? Where do you go next? And what are the layers of analysis there of redundancy and backup? Beyond that, another option is to potentially sell your business. Again, something that is probably going to take a little bit of time. I usually recommend people who are thinking about selling their business to start a couple years out, right? Because it takes a while to go through the process of preparing things to get it really nice and neat like a buyer would want. You're going to typically have a due diligence process in selling. People are going to ask a lot of questions. They're going to want to see your books and records. They're going to want to see the business can largely run without you. So if you haven't done those things in running your business, a 2, 3, 4 year period to get things in order in anticipation of the sale process can make a big difference. And if you're ready for the sale process and you have things in order, man, that sale process is going to go so much more smoothly than if you don't have a organized process, right? So you really want to think about what your process looks like and how you can prepare for that. So ideally, you've already been thinking about this for a while. If not, there might be some catch up homework to do on the U.S. side. Many of you that are leaving the U.S. as a business owner probably want to continue to grow or build a business overseas, and that brings challenges with it too. One of the first questions you'll probably encounter in this process is, where do you want to go and can you legally get there? And the next layer from that is, can you legally work there, right? A lot of countries have programs to welcome foreign persons to come in to potentially live there. That's one layer of programs. And then there's a different layer of programs for people that want to live and work somewhere else. And as you can probably guess, there's usually more restrictions on living and working somewhere else versus just living there, right? So we got to deal with that practical reality of, we can't just pack up and pick where we want to go and just show up there and start working, right? We're not going to have the necessary permits and approvals that are needed for that, right? So that's going to require some planning, probably with immigration lawyers or at least some advisors in the other country that are going to get you set up the right way so that you can establish the business. This speaks nothing of potential language and cultural barriers, which may also be present, right? So there is a real challenge to this. However, it's something that can be done successfully. And, I watch lots of channels and I, have read a fair amount about this process. So I know about what goes into it. And there are people who are successfully doing this. Many people, it's just a lifestyle choice, right? Um, and, many people, depending on where you are in the U.S., are concerned about, some of the fundamentals and the directions. And they're starting to look at it, right? The statistics and the demographics uh, point to some potential long-term problems, and maybe the U.S. will resolve them, maybe they won't. Some people are doing this as a diversification strategy of saying, okay, well, I don't want to have all my eggs in one basket. I see the battle between the U.S. and China for economic control and perhaps military control of the world, right? I know there's something going on here. And because I know there's something going on here, I want to hedge my bets, right? Maybe I want to get a ability to live in some other countries, perhaps another passport, perhaps diversify into some countries that are on the other side of the equation, right? The big side of the equation right now, as I see it, being the U.S., Europe, NATO type countries versus BRICS, the Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and their growing contingent of other countries that have come together. They're really trying to be a counterbalance. And some smart individuals are saying, I want to be on both sides of the equation, right? I want to be have access to the U.S. and Europe, but I also want to be able to do business in some other countries, and maybe I want to have a presence in the BRICS countries so that I can take advantage of both sides of the equation, right? If you're trying not to be too political and really have your life not rest on politics, there's a lot to be said about being in both systems. And in today's rules right now, it is very possible. But you've got to figure out first what to do with that U.S. business. And is that an exit? Is it a sale? Is it a restructure, right? And that, of course, raises a number of legal issues that are related there too. How do you structure your business so that it can continue to run without you? How do you get the right incentives in place for your employees and key managers? How do you make sure that they have the incentives to keep working there, to not disappear, to grow that business, right? And there's a lot of things that can be built into your governing documents to really make that incentive structure there. On the flip side, if you're selling your business, that brings on a range of tax consequences, but also the practical reality of how to sell your business for the most money. And that may require some structuring and planning. So all of those pieces working together lead to that overall picture of what you want to do. So if it's something you're thinking about, this will give you some of the high level brushstrokes of what you need to do. And if it's something you have more questions about, feel free to comment. Drop any comments on a non-confidential basis. And I'll look at those and I may do future videos. A lot of times I'm prompted with video ideas from, comments or from people emailing me or calling me or other things prompt me with ideas of what, people may be looking for. And if I see people are looking for something, I may do a video on it. So drop comments, let me know. Consider subscribing, checking out our library of videos, and I'll see you guys for another video soon.